All right, guys, everyone in? Just 60 seconds to go and we start.
Hi, hello to everyone.
Hi there.
Hi Luigi, hi Dimitri.
Hello. How are you, everyone?
I'm great.
Okay. Okay, so let's start. My name is Dmitry. I don't think you really need to know my last name, whatever. I'm here to talk with you today about. Well, actually, this program is about technological entrepreneurship and startups as well. So we are here to right now to talk about two things: CastDev, which is like a free marketing research tool for startups, and market management as well. I will do my best not to be boring for you. So I'll try so it makes something useful, and I'll try to provide you with some tools which I hope you will use later on. So I think we lack some people here, but whatever. I think we have 6 people in the group. Oh, okay, people are connecting, whatever. Okay. Right. I will show you a couple of slides. I generally do not really like to be, like a boring lecturer who talks and talks and talks and stuff. But I think I will say a couple of interesting things for you today. But what I will ask you to do is to be interactive, because I really think that that learning and education is not in listening to other people, but it's rather in interacting with each other and exchanging the experience in general. Okay, so whatever, if someone is going to connect later on, so be it. So once again, for those who just joined us, my name is Dmitry. Okay, my last name is Voronin. It's some people like really laugh on it because of a couple of movies. So whatever. What we are going to do right now is we are going to know each other. I really want to get acquainted with you. I think I see your names in the list, but I do not know anything about you. I do not even know where you're from. What time is it right now? Maybe some of you join us early in the morning. Some of you join us maybe at night, as it was with my last group in August last year, when people joined like at 2 a.m. But okay, so let's start. Once again, just a couple of words about yourself, why you're in the group, where you're from, and what are you expecting from the course, okay? So let's start.
Hi Dimitri, I'm Ashwood. I'm from Iran. Actually, our time is 30 minutes in front of your time.
Oh,
No, 30 minutes behind you.
You're behind.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like 11:30, 11:40.
11:40? No, it's 12:40.
Oh, 12:40. It means you are ahead because I am in Moscow.
Okay, so I thought you are in
Yeah.
Samara.
Yeah. Well, yes. Well, actually, I live and work in Moscow. I used to work in the university physically, but just before the pandemic, I moved to Moscow. But I still like work in the university. So, well, just I live 1,000 kilometers from the university itself.
Great.
Okay. Um, are you actually a student or taking any courses? Why are you here right now?
I'm a student and also employee. Actually, I have some ideas for starting a startup for myself. So
Mhm.
this course is very interesting and could be a great opportunity for me.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Nice to
let's
meet
move.
you.
Let's move on. Guys, is anybody here? Do not be so shy.
Yeah. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Let me open my camera so you can see me. So it's just morning here. I'm from Italy actually, so it's 10 a.m. 10 a.m. in the morning. So
Good morning.
yeah, nice to meet you. So I'm Luigi. So far I'm here, because as I say, so I've been like involved. I'm actually currently working like in a different, let's say, in a corporate, and I've been like working like also like in previously like in another company, like another big company. I've been like involved like in different like startup projects, and all they've been like really not successful. Meaning there were like many issues, many situations. So they were not my own project, but just like being like involved as an advisor or as like a supporter. And of course, I have like some nice idea in mind and what I like to develop, and I need just like to consolidate like all the pictures. Okay,
Cool. Okay.
thank you.
I understand you about the projects which fail, because on the lineup, when you're actually working on business ideas, you have like to iterate, because you know maybe out of maybe about 100 projects which I was personally involved, only 2 or 3 actually lighted up. And why I am here personally is just one reason, because I will be trying to teach you how to avoid mistakes, how to actually put the projects to successful path. That's basically it. And um, why I'm actually telling this, you should never put yourself aside and make yourself down with the projects which do not shoot into the stars, just because what you're actually doing is, when you're into the startup industry, you're actually finding, actually every day you're finding um, the idea which will actually work. And even if you find one, it doesn't matter that you have to stop. So it's a process, a lifetime process. That's why we actually here. Okay, thank you, Luigi. Who's next? We have a couple of other people who connected.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Sabine. I'm from wait a second, I put on my camera. So good
Hello.
morning. I'm from Germany.
Okay.
I'm an economics student, and I'm here because I think startups are really interesting, and I want to learn more about it.
Okay. Where are you from in Germany?
That's all.
What city are you in?
Cologne.
Oh, okay.
Cologne. Yes.
I've been to Berlin, and I've been to Frankfurt a couple of times. Quite a nice country.
Oh, cool. Yes.
I love Europe. Yeah, I love Europe. It's cool.
Cool.
Oh, okay. Well, are you a student actually, or how are you involved in technological stuff?
I am an undergrad. I'm studying economics at a university. I'm in my last year, so I have to write now my thesis. And yes, I'm maybe afterwards I will develop some business ideas, something like that. And yeah, I think it's just interesting, and I like all about startups, and I'm reading much about it. So I thought maybe why not gain some practical insights?
Okay. Thank you very much. Who is else up in here? Well, Ananda, we actually do not hear you. I think you have your mic off, maybe.
Oh, hello.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Sorry, my
Hi.
headphone.
Yeah, your gaming headset is yeah. Okay.
Okay. First of all, hello. My name is Ananda. Uh, I'm a computer science student from Universitas Gajah Mada. I'm from Indonesia, and currently it is 4 p.m. in Indonesia.
Okay.
So good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And
Yeah.
then and I interested on this course because I want to gain more experience about high technology and to find new experience.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Well,
Okay, thank you.
okay. We have Nico. Am I right? If I'm pronouncing right.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. My name is Nico. I'm also the same as Ananda. I'm from Indonesia, and I'm studying computer science. And I'm here because I'm curious about IT startups. Yeah, I think that's all.
Okay. Well, okay, that was cool. Actually, we're a few of us, but we are actually in different parts of the world. Okay, so I will tell you a couple of things about myself. Well, I am 35. I have about right now 12 years of experience working in startups. I have experience in a couple of very successful projects. Well, mostly IT. But not only I have experience in working in startups affiliated with oil and gas industry, as well as construction, new materials. A couple of years ago, the rapid development of IT industry made me to take part in it, and well, right now it's my main direction. But I am here and actually in the university because I really have experience in and practice in real startups and entrepreneurship projects, and that really helps me to pass my experience to students, and that's what I really like to do, and that's why I am here today. I already said that I will try my best not to be boring for you. Okay, so we will talk about two main things today. Well, how to make a product in your project and how to actually evolve it, because what people actually fail to do is they really actually think that there is a really harsh enemy for any human, and it is called the ego. The self-assumption, which really fails, which you really fall into, and whether you have a really high ego or a really low ego, it really depends, but it always leads you to a fail, because you overestimate or underestimate yourself, and that is really important. There are some tools to build a successful product, and what the actual trend in the late years is that like 50. I will tell a couple of examples, and what I really like to do is talk about common things. I really like building examples around the car industry, automobiles, and actually IT, that is really depictful. And like 50 years ago, once again in the car building industry, there were a couple of brands which actually built cars, and actually they decided themselves what cars to bring to the market, and then the customer actually decided what model to buy, what car to buy. And right now, this thing is absolutely 180 degrees further. Right now, the customer decides what he wants, and the production itself brings the products which people want. That's how it works right now. And why I'm talking about this, it leads to a technique, a very simple yet very efficient technique in the startup industry, which is called CustDev, or customer development. And while being a common sense, and okay, how many of you have ever heard of CustDev? Just open the chat and plus for yes, minus for no.
Can you repeat the question, please?
How many of you have ever heard of CustDev technique, customer development technique? Well, what we're actually oh, cool. Some of us even have experience in this. Well, what we generally are talking about right now and today is, well, I hate this word, but it is marketing. You know, marketing. I hate this, but okay. I only see one answer in the chat. Okay. Oh, so we haven't heard about it. Not yet. Okay. Okay. I will open my slides right now, and I will talk with. I will tell you about it. Oh my God, I so hate Apple notebooks. Just give me a minute. While I'm trying to open my presentation, are you all comfortable with my English? I know I'm not too good at it, but well, I hope you at least understand me. Okay. Okay. Okay, I think I opened it. All right. Right now I will be launching my screen demo, and just I will narrate over my presentation. Okay, do you guys see my screen? Okay, good. So, well, actually, I was going yesterday to talk with you about marketing, but well, I opened my last presentation and I think I read it through and I thought it was so boring that like at late night I was cutting it through and like making it once again over and over. So we are going to talk about CustDev. What is CustDev? It is a technique called customer development. Well, while being well, a lot of people actually think that customer development like is just a word and is just being an interview, a deep interview, but actually it is not. Actually, it is a scientific approach to being actually exploring the market and focusing on the market needs rather than on your actual ideas. So what does it do? Oh my God, I so hate Apple notebooks. Okay, well, it is a formal methodology for building startups and new corporate ventures. And what is it about for those of you who haven't heard about it? Well, I'm actually surprised because most of the people who are actually in the startup industry, they they actually heard about it. CustDev, which stands for customer development, is a technique when, well, you are building a startup with a friend, okay? For example, you do not have millions of dollars, you know, in your pocket just to hold a marketing research, a full-term marketing research. But still you want to know something about the market and you want to validate your ideas. And how do you do that? Because, well, you do not have a lot of money. You do not have a lot of resources for, just like, I don't know, Toyota or maybe Pepsi or Coca-Cola, for example, to, just throw in a couple of $1 million and just find out whether your product is valuable or not. but you still have to evaluate the market share and stuff like this. And what you actually do, a cost dev actually is a technique for evaluating your product through deep interviews with specific people who actually have a chance to use your product. And why it is different, it is really, really different from standard marketing techniques, because you actually focus not on classic marketing tools, but you actually focus on people needs. Well, for example, I want to build, for example, I want to make a mobile game, like on a mobile phone. I have an idea. I have drawn some characters, stuff and loot and stuff. But I really have to, and I actually quite believe that it is an example that my game will be successful. But how do I know that? And I do not really have a lot of money just to hold up a marketing research. What I do, I actually show this game to my friends and ask them whether they like it. And this is actually what is cost dev is about. It sounds simple, but it's not simple at all, because it is really it has some really important points, and you really have to know how to do that, what people to ask, and what questions you have to pose, because we all actually believe our products and ideas are great. We all do that, and that is a fail. And another fail, what we do is we actually, when we have come up with the idea, when I build something, and I think, wow, that's great, I'm gonna, conquer the world with it and stuff. And who do I ask? I ask my wife, my children, my parents, and that is the second mistake, because you do not have to ask people that are close to you about your products, because they are going to distort their opinion just to please you, because we are all valuable people for our families, for our parents, and they will tell you your product is great just to please you, and that is a bad idea. So right now, well, guys, I will not make it full screen just because I want to show you a couple of things and have an opportunity to outline. So the key thing about the cost dev is, will people want my product? And why is it so different from classic marketing techniques? Is because you do not firstly build a product and then go and ask people if they like it. But before building a product, you first ask people, what is the problem? Well, customer development starts with the key idea that really
sorry, Dmitry, just one point here. But I mean, what about if you ask to some people that they don't have like a good knowledge about it? I mean, because, for example, let's say if you have like a specific idea, like on an IT application, and then like you are somehow like sharing the idea like with people that you don't know, and maybe you don't have like any knowledge about it, so they will give you like a feedback that is not consistent, right?
Yeah, right. But I don't think I really got the question. Well, what is the question? So,
no, my question is, I mean, like, I understood your point that you said, that it's better like not ask like to people that are really close to you, because because they might give you like a feedback that is not real. But my point is also like, if you're asking like to somebody that is not, that even you don't know, like in terms of background, it can give you also like a feedback that is not accurate, because
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I got your point. And that is actually one of the key things about cost dev, because the second thing you want to propose is who you are going to ask, because once again, you do not have millions of dollars, to hold a huge marketing research, but you have to individually choose people who are potentially your clients. And that is important because for example, once again, you are making an application, right? And for example, you're making an application for kids, for, I don't know, cartoons maybe, or something like that. And you are not going to show this application to your, I don't know, mother or father who is 60 years old, just because this application is for kids. And what you actually do, you show it to kids. And while we as grown-ups think that kids are dumb, they still have to be the, they are actually the stakeholders for it. And that is a very important question. Do you know why Disney is so popular? It started to be popular because Walter Disney actually asked his nephew about his cartoons, and he actually started to produce cartoons which are interesting to children. And that is one of the main examples of CastDev. If you want to build a product which is going to be successful, you first have to ask people who are going to use it whether it is good or not. And if you just, and customer development is not a technique on just, you know, walking out of the office and asking, you know, catching people on the street and asking them, well, do you really like it? What color do you like? No, it's not. It's when you actually choose your potential clients. You actually choose people really carefully, and you actually show, you outline the problem. Firstly, you outline the problem. You find people who have this problem, you build a product and show it to them, and then you gain feedback. There is another thing which we are going to talk a little bit later about is, you know, how to actually gather the information, how to actually split, you know, good feedback from bad feedback, and how to actually evaluate. But well, I will talk about it just a little bit later on. But there is a small picture right here. Is every, and this is really important. This is a really simple picture, but it really shows how it works. Well, each hour of talking about your product saves hundreds and thousands of hours of planning, and that is what actually CastDev is about. It is being, it is a technique which actually, well, I think most of you know what Agile is. You know, well, Agile management and Lean management. Well, it is about being flexible. You know, when you are building a product, you are really assured that it is going to work. And why it is different from planning? When you plan something, you actually follow the steps, or, you know, from start to finish. But what Agile is about is when you are following the steps. For example, you have 10 steps, and on step 3, you actually find that customers want a little bit different interface, you know, a couple of other features and stuff, and you do not follow your plan anymore. You just roll over, build these features for the client, and roll further on. So Agile Techniques, which is CastDev is about as well, is about being flexible. You do not just follow your plan just to, you know, to build the steps from 1 to 10. You are agile, and what is about it is when you come up with something, when on any other step which you found your theory or your idea being false, or needed to add something, you actually do it, and you are constantly evolving your product, not just following the plan. Because okay, if you're planning, and if you're not changing something on the course, you have built a product and it is not being popular. But why? Because on step 3, for example, you gained feedback which actually showed you what you have to change, but you did not do it just because you planned. And this is wrong. This is how the business is done. Not only startups, actually, what marketing right now in the 21st century is about. It is about being flexible, because companies have no ability right now to build the products and to, you know, push it to you. They actually they have learned to ask people what they want, and that is how it is done. So, well, Agile Techniques is about, well, actually it is.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Is it possible to, I mean, is it reasonable to show our product before preparing MVP, minimum viable product, or
and we're going to talk about right now. Well, For those of you guys who, well, maybe do not know, MVP is a minimum viable product. It is, well, actually, here in Russia, we call it the prototype. No, well, actually, quite about this. And some of the technology, well, in technology industry, even building a prototype may require hundreds of thousands of dollars investment. And it can be really, really expensive. And of course, you have to validate your ideas and your, and your theories before you actually spend money. And that is one of the really cool surpluses of CastDev, is you actually do not spend money on this. You actually validate your ideas and your theories even before you even put a single dollar into your stuff. That is why it is cool. Okay, so once again, it's not just an in-depth interview with the client, as it's sometimes, well, mistakenly believed in. It is really a scientific approach, and it is focused on the buyer and on the client himself. CastDev is a technique studying the portrait of a potential customer before even selling something to him. And that is really different because, well, just a couple of seconds, guys. I'll throw in some Coke. And just, why this technique is so cool and why it became really popular? Just because if you're into technology management, you have to, well, you definitely have a lot of ideas. But I think you have to understand that most of your ideas do not, live themselves. You have to evolve them. And what you actually do is when you come up with an idea of a product or a technology or maybe an application, whatever, you have to validate, because before you actually spend money, well, I think you already heard the statistics, but about 90% of startups actually fail. There is a certain, a so-called valley of death, which is like a 12-month period from building, well, actually creating a startup to earning, first serious money with it. And this is called, well, valley of death, this 1 year period. It is called so because, well, 9 out of 10 startups actually close in a period of 12 to 14 months. That is official statistics, and that is really sad. And because I have, even on my experience, on my personal background, I have seen a lot of products which were actually really, really cool, and a lot of great ideas, well, people have, mostly students, by the way, because universities are, like think tanks, and really, really cool ideas come up from students firstly. And that is why I actually love working in the university, because you're every day walking inside the university. It's like walking into the building with 2,000 Einsteins around you. It's really, really cool. But
may I ask you, sorry, Dimitri, just a question. Maybe it's like stupid, okay? But it's just like for my curiosity. So
whatever.
Like today, I mean, each one that is opening like a business, is say that he's gonna open, like he's gonna launch a startup, right? Mm-hmm. Years ago, they were saying, I'm gonna open like my company. So my point is,
sure.
What is the difference like between a company, or what is the difference like in terms of definition of a startup? So
okay, yeah, I got you. Okay,
because to me they are exactly the same thing. So
okay, I will answer your question. The answer is really simple. I actually was hoping that, well, your course, I think, is pretty long, and I really hope someone will actually explain it to you. Well, a startup, I will open my company and I'm building a startup. What is the difference? Okay, I got your question right, Luigi?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is a startup actually? A startup is really the difference. It is risky. That is the first thing. When you are building a startup, you are building, well, pretty much everything is a company. You're building a company. But what is the difference between the startup and the, well, general business? First, it is technologically involved. You are not opening, a convenience store with Coca-Cola and bakery, that is not a startup, because this, well, it is another thing. Well, so it is about technology. Second thing, it is a venture. A venture means that it is when you're opening a startup, you are building a business model which you are planning is going to grow by hundreds and thousands of percent in a matter of months or years. So you're not opening a business just to sell so once again sell bread and milk in the convenience store, a couple of stores down. You are building a risky venture based on technology which you are planning is going to skyrocket. Well, you probably actually know that a symbol of startups is a yellow rocket, which
yeah. No,
and that
but
is all about it. You are risking and you are building a business model. Well, startup actually two things: technology in the base of the business, and second, you are building it not to earn a couple of hundreds of euros every week, but you are building it to grow like mushrooms in a matter of a couple of years. That is what startup is about.
Not clear, but I think there is a lot of, let's say, even marketing like behind, like meaning like so many people, they say, okay, I'm gonna launch my startup, and at the end of the day, it's like a company. So that's the reason why I was asking for. Okay.
Yeah, and that is that is actually there is a lot of marketing. It's true what you said. There is a lot of marketing behind it, but why we are learning today to build a startup? Because if you are building a real startup, I mean a real startup, not just declaring you are building one, there are some techniques which actually help you to live through the valley of death and actually earn money with it. And if you are telling your friends that you are building a startup, but you're just opening a company which is not a startup, then you actually do not need all these techniques. You just you do not have to learn all this stuff. I mean, cost dev. If you're opening a convenience store, or if you're wanting to just I don't know, open a restaurant, you do not need that. You just build a company and you just work. But if you are in technology management, if you are building a business which which is based on technology, and you are wanting, actually you want it to grow hundreds and thousands of percent, and you understand the risks behind this, then that is the moment when your business is actually a startup, whether you want it or not. So well, actually, the term startup actually, it actually appeared in the 1980s.
Excuse me for interrupting. May I add something?
Sure. Okay.
Okay. I generally think that first of all, a team group is made for startup, and then maybe some incubators can help the team to develop their ideas. And whenever they're gonna be more sure that the ideas is gonna work, they will open the company.
Yeah, and that is why incubators and the accelerators are all about. They are in the industry to help people go through the beginning of the process, because the average age in the United States of America of building a startup is 42 years old. It's not about the students. It is an official statistic, and I'm not taking anything from my head. Officially, the average age of a startup founder in the United States is 42. It is building startups is generally, it is a kind of marketing. It is always comprehended like an idea of young people and students, but no, it is not. Actually, it is not, because when you are building a startup, and I have faced it a thousand times with my students, when they have a brilliant idea, really cool technology, a really good idea behind them, but they do not know how to make business out of it. And that is the risk of building a startup. Even if you have a brilliant idea, a really cool technology, a really cool product, you have to understand how to make business out of it, how to actually earn money with it. And believe me, I have faced like thousands of products which are really cool, but they are nowhere right now just because people do not know how to sell it, or they do not know how to make their story successful. So that is what startups are about. And well, once again, well, let's go through the CastDev part. Once again, is well, what is CastDev is about is you validate your solution, you validate your ideas. The authors are the people right here in the bottom. It is Steve Blank, who is actually the original idea maker of customer development technique, and Eric Ries, he was his student, and he actually developed it. And Eric Ries is a very popular figure in the startup industry because, well, he actually was one of the developers of Agile technology itself. So, and what you actually do, and why is it different? As I already told you, that CastDev is a technique when you first find problems, build products, then solve them. So it is first asking people first, building product later. And product development is a controversial technique used by classical marketing. Well, by large corporations, they first build a product and then find people who need it. And that is actually a failure right now, because in the 21st century, actually a consumer decides what he actually wants, not the corporations. Because in 1950s, 1960s, large corporations actually did not ask people what products they should build. They didn't even ask focus groups. There was no idea of focus groups. They just decided themselves what they want to produce, and well, whether people buy it or not. And right now, people actually decide what is important for them. And I really like the examples of about the car industry. Is people's values change over time. Well, 20 years ago or 30 years ago, our parents, your parents, my parents, how did they choose a car? They wanted to be reliant. They wanted to be, to put something into it. There were a couple of factors which are really important. It should save, save fuel and stuff. And how do people choose cars right now? What is important for people right now? The design, the multimedia inside it, the huge screens and stuff. These things were absolutely irrelevant 10 years ago. Absolutely irrelevant. But right now, people actually put it on the first place. And why did it happen? It happened because the technology actually evolved, and people, the gadgets started to be so important in people's lives that they automatically transferred into the cars. But it did not happen like in a matter of seconds. What companies really did is that they actually started to ask people what the ideal car for them was. And 10 years ago, 15 years ago, people, more and more people started to say that, well, okay, we want a huge LCD screen inside the car. And they said, oh, well, okay, we will put that. And that is how it actually works. When you ask people what they want and you give them what they want, you actually start to sell. So each startup is really right here is free to choose an approach, whether it's customer development or product development. But a customer-centric model is considered to be more tenacious just because, well, it's considered to be more living. Just because right now, once again, in the 21st century, first of all, in the Western markets, in European, North American markets, you have absolutely no ability to, bring a product and say, well, people, you should buy it. Well, it doesn't work like that. You should first ask people what they want, and your product absolutely has to solve a problem. I really like to show a couple of examples of European startups. For example, well, how many of you actually ride bicycles? Well, I do. Well, um,
I do
and
also.
yeah, and how many of you actually have seen a bicycle helmet? Well, a lot of you do. And there is even a law, well, here in Russia, that you have to wear a bicycle helmet when you're riding one. But there really was a problem with that. They look ugly, and they are absolutely uncomfortable to bring with it. And 2 years ago, uh, two guys from one of them from India, another one from Indonesia, they decided to come up with a new idea. They decided that a bicycle helmet should first look good. Second, it should actually be comfortable to carry. And what they actually did, they created a bicycle helmet which looked like a baseball cap, but it folded it 6 times and was put into a small tube 4 centimeters in diameter, which you can put into any bag. So, well, why you ask? Well, and a lot of people actually ask me, what is, like, why is it a startup? There is no serious technology. No, there is a technology, and the technology is really simple. When you are building a startup using any technology, you do not have to invent something on new material or whatever. You have to solve a people's problem. You have to, and even if you find a solution which is based on already existing technologies, but you combine them, that is when you create a cool business. For example, Uber, I mean, well, taxi service. They do not invent cell phones. They did not invent GPS, but they combined the technology together. And just look what they did. They combined a couple of technologies, and right now, well, you actually all know Uber and, well, cab services like this. They created a new business just combining technology together, and they actually solved why the technology is important. They solved people's problem. People hate to actually call the taxi. Quite a few times, people do not know the address. They are going well, a lot of things, and you just and another important thing is, psychologists say that there is a trend in the last decade that people are tending to be more introversive. They do not really like to communicate with the strangers. And what it actually does, it actually lets you not give a call to a stranger and well, explaining why you're, well, drunk after a couple of beers and when you're launching. You have to, you just press a couple of buttons and that's it, and the car comes up. So once again, building a startup is not only about inventing something, it is about solving people's problems through technology. And that is what startups is about. Give me a couple of seconds. I will try to show you the thing, a short video about the bicycle helmets. I really like to show it because I really love the people behind this product. I know them personally. And I personally love this story being successful because what they actually did is they understood that safety is actually, well, has a potential for monetization. Well, in Russia, for example, safety is not really important. People do not really care too much here about safety. But when I come to Europe, I absolutely, well, for example, Germany, I absolutely see no single person riding without, well, seat belts on or a bicycle helmet. Well, people in Europe really follow the rules. And
That's true. Yes.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But when you come to Russia, every second driver doesn't wear a seat belt. People do not care. We smoke on fueling stations and stuff. Well, people do not really care, and that is not cool because, well, but safety is really
Also in Iran.
also in Iran.
Yeah, I mean, Iranian behavior is like Russian.
Well, yeah. Well, I have never been to Iran, but I've been to in Middle East countries, and they are all pretty much the same. Yeah, I know that. But in Western cultures, safety is a really important, good to sell. You can sell safety products, and they really, and they're really used. For example, in Russia, sometimes people do not even bring, automobile chairs for children special. They just carry children like this. Just try to do this in Germany. You'll probably be arrested. I think so, but not in Russia. Well, and you have to know this cultural stuff. You have to understand this because, well, when you understand the people's needs, right, and you have an idea for a startup, then you have to connect those two together. And the first thing, when you have an idea for a technology company, you have to answer yourself a simple question: what problem does your idea solve? And if it does not solve any problems, well, it doesn't mean it's not going to be successful. But then you will have to ask yourself if you are going to build a company just for yourself, to just for your idea, or are you going to make money out of it? And this is one of the drawbacks of customer development technique, by the way, which we are talking about, is that it is only suitable for companies which are planning to make money. It is really not a technique for social or ecological products. It is not suitable because you do not have to ask people if they want to save the oceans and save the trees. That is a common sense, of course you do. So it is not really suitable, but it is really cool when it comes up to some instruments when you are planning to make money. Just give me a couple of seconds.
I actually want to add something. As you told,
Sure.
It's not applicable to pay attention about people's concern about saving tree. Actually, a company in Canada could increase their sales by do something. They promote that in their advertisement, that if each t-shirt each 10 t-shirt that people buy, they will plant a tree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think I found the guys which I wanted to show you. They are called Park and Diamond. Okay, I think I found the video which I am going to show you. Okay, I'm stopping my screen demo and launching it once again. Okay, is it visible? Okay, just a couple of minutes. I'm showing you an example of a startup. They actually, in 2019, they actually involved, I think, about $55 million investments, just building bicycle helmets, which are different from the standard ones. And that is when technology comes to, well, it is being a technology company, but this technology is so simple, but yet so efficient that actually people are available for making money out of it. Okay, so I'm keeping quiet, just look through the ad.
We can't hear any sound from the video.
Oh, you can't hear any sound. Okay, so I do not think I know how to actually turn it on. Okay, so I will do it like this. I will just copy paste it into the chat, so you will have an ability to actually look through it later on. Okay. Once again, I so much hate Apple notebooks. Okay, so well, but you got the idea, the general idea. So you absolutely do not have to build something, you know, some rocket science involved just to build a startup. You have to come up with an idea which actually solves people's problems. That's about it. And once again, to my presentation. Well, I will open it right away. Okay. Okay, once again, I'm launching my screen demo. Okay. So once again, the official statistics show that 42% of projects actually fail due to low product market fit, which actually means that even if you create a product which is really potentially cool and it has a great potential for being used, if you do not understand how to sell it and how to pose it in the market, you will fail and your product will fail, which is really sad. But people really often do not even know what they want, and even through CastDev you actually track this. And why this technique is important, because first of all, costs could be avoided by testing market needs in advance, this thing. Because when you're actually launching a CastDev, well, how this classic marketing well actually works. Huge companies, for example, Procter and Gamble, I know Coca-Cola, they just pay hundreds of thousands of people for their opinion. But what actually Luigi asked me before, they do not choose who to ask. They ask every single people, every single man, or I don't know, everyone. And that is why they have to build statistics around this, because they do not understand which is relevant or not. For example, Coca-Cola, okay, they ask hundreds of thousands of people through the marketing research. But inside this group of people, there are a lot of people, you know, who do not drink Coca-Cola at all, who have some, you know, stomach illnesses which do not let them do this. And you have to outline these people, and they do not represent actually valuable information for you. And what CastDev actually is about, it is about asking specific questions about your specific product from your specific potential customers, and that is why it is so important. And this technique was used by people on the beginning of startup industry, because the companies, the first startups were built by students, people who did not have really a lot of money. They couldn't afford, you know, a specific marketing research. They even did not have an ability to put their hands on marketing researches of other companies, because there was no, you know, internet. Right now, if you want to, you know, you can pay well a couple of €100 and buy the serious marketing research in pretty much any sphere. And this was not the case 10 or 15 years ago. It didn't work like that. And what people actually came up with, they decided, oh well, if I am going to sell something, I firstly have to even ask my future clients if they actually like the product or not. And that is when the agile approach actually appeared. Is if you Agile is generally about you. Once again, you do not follow the plan. You evolve in the process of building your product itself, and that is what Agile is about. And that is why it is called Agile, because you all the time you iterate, and you do not just building what you decided to build. You ask people, you ask the feedback, you build a lot of MVPs, prototypes, and you actually, that is what SpaceX actually does. And actually they invented the iterative approach, because and that is really a good example, I think, because how well you know that our university is actually an aerospace university, and we know a lot about this, and how the rockets and the jet propulsion apparatus were built before. They were projected for like 10 or 15 years, and then only then they were assembled, and the test launch was carried out. But what SpaceX actually does, they build like hundreds of prototypes, and by doing that, they are building up good solutions. They are constantly testing their products, not just spending 15 years on building a rocket and launching it into space and seeing if it explodes or not. What they actually do, they build the rocket from the bottom to the tip, and they test every single module. Well, for example, they build the bottom module, they implement the navigation equipment, and they launch it, and they see what happens. If it does okay, they go further. If it does not, they see what was wrong. And this is called the iterative approach, and it is used not only in space industry right now. It is so efficient that it is actually used in product management everything. Do you have a question? If you have any questions, just feel free. I told you in the beginning, I really want to talk to you. I do not really want to be a boring lecturer for you. So if you have any questions, just feel free, especially about the information technology industries and the space industry, which I'm really keen into. Well, I really know a lot of stuff, so just feel free to ask if you have any questions. So once again, the efficiency of going into the cost dev is because you actually spend zero money, but you actually gain a very important information. And one of the most important things is you have to very carefully choose people for the customer development technique, because you do not, once again, have to ask just everyone. You have to specifically choose potential customers for your product and ask them, their exact opinion. So how does it actually work? There are like 5, milestones. Oh, I'm sorry. Did not delete a couple of logos. So there are 5 factors actually. The main factors which work in this technology. The first one, the customer is in the center of everything. We already know that the customer is always right, but this is not about a customer being always right. This is about finding the interest and the problems of the customer and solving them. CastDev is not a technique which actually tells you, to follow all the client's needs. It is about finding out what is important or not. And it is necessary to form his portrait with all the plans and pains and needs, and making up a hypothesis for this. And I really like the example with Walter Disney, because, really, just think about it, that, cartoons, they are generally for children, but no one before him actually asked children what they like. And what he actually did is he actually asked people asked children what cartoons they liked. And it turned out that they like cartoons with animals, they like, certain things. And after he actually implemented it, they became so popular that in a matter of only 16 months, Walter Disney, from being a really poor animator in the studio, he became one of the most famous people in the world. So that's actually how it works. And I have a couple of outlines for this point, that a company will only survive as long as it continues to have a strong customer base. And to build this customer base, you actually have to ask customers about your product. And the more you know, the more successful you will be. And even the best product will fail, already said that, without a steady stream of users. So once again, even if you have a great idea for a startup or a great technology, you have to invent the means of creating a constant stream of users, a constant stream of actually people who are actually going to buy your technology. The second thing is, no hypothesis can actually be the ultimate truth. And that is really important, well, because really, even if the founder thinks the idea is brilliant, careful testing is required in any means. And the ideal product may not be successful on the market and that is what I'm actually outlining. Manage your ego. Whether your ego is small or it is big, even if you trust yourself as no one else in the universe, or if you think that vice versa, you always fail and maybe it's not worth it, you have always you must always try to put your ideas to the test. Just because if you are not quite assured in yourself, maybe your idea will be so popular that in a matter of a couple of months you will be, the next Walt Disney. But what I actually have faced in my experience, over this decade, is that most people trust in their products so much that they actually fail to ask other people if they are interested. And I have seen hundreds of examples when people, run with their idea or a prototype, and they actually try to persuade people that their product is cool. And that is a failure, because, you do not have to, tell people that your product is cool. They have to decide themselves that your product is cool. And that is when the demand is created. And that is when the cash flow is created. The third one, the iterative approach, which we're actually discussed right now on the example of SpaceX. And Tesla, by the way, they build the automobiles just using the iterative approach as well. You first find a client, and then you develop a product for the buyer and scale your company. If the client is not found, the process is repeated. That actually what iterative approach is about. You actually, what this approach is about, you actually put your ideas to the test all the time. And while you do that, you actually are constantly trying to find the ideas which are going to be successful. And if you and why this is important, because you try to test 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 ideas that fail, but maybe your number 11 idea will be a success. And that is what iterative approach is about. Guys, let's make a small pause, like a couple of minutes. I will go and look for my charger for my notebook, and we will just make a cup of tea or coffee, and in a couple of minutes we'll join back. Okay? So, 2 or 3 minutes, we will all be right back. Hello, hello. Do you see me and hear me? Okay. All right, I'll throw in some screen demo once again. Guys, are you actually here? Put a plus into the chat. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Ananda, I see you. Okay. Okay. Okay, so let's move on. Once again. So, the next thing, well, we already discussed the iterative approach, which is actually working quite well. And in the technology business, firstly, just because when you are building a technology, well, mostly it is complicated. And any technology project involves building multiple prototypes and testing multiple theories. And that is why you have to use the iterative approach every time. The next thing, that cost dev starts with the key idea that there are no facts inside your building. So get the hell outside to test them. And that is actually, well, quite as it looks and sounds. You actually do not, you are not able to build anything just inside your house. You have to get outside into the big world to test your theory, to test your hypothesis, and to actually ask people about their needs. And what this actually means, it actually means that you will never be able to build a business which is a startup. Actually, it is a business. First of all, it is a business. And the key idea of behind any startup is actually earning money. And you have to actually split it inside your head that if you have a social project or non-commercial product, it is not a startup. It is a social product. Well, it may be very important. It may be really, really useful, but it is not a startup. Startup industry is all about making money really, really fast using technological solutions. That is it. So you will never understand anything while sitting behind, in your kitchen, looking outside the window. You have to talk to people. You have to see the world, see the opportunity, see the problems, and that is what technology is about. Well, the technology has been around us since we were, in the Stone Age, when first people invented, hammers and stone axes, because they solved the problem. They have to find food, and they had to hunt, and that is why the instruments were born, and that is when technology was born, and that is all about it. And the last one and the fifth one, but yet not the least important, that the foundation of any successful business is understanding human psychology and identifying patterns of behavior and finding insights. What it actually means that, well, the marketing itself is, well, some people think that it is a science, some people think that it's not. But actually what marketing is all about is finding psychological patterns in humans for actually selling products to them. And why is it important? Is it because, once again, this is closely connected with the feature number 2, which is if you think you are a good psychologist and you think you understand the people's needs and insights, you build a product and you automatically fall into the figure number 2, that you are not able to manage your ego, and you do not understand or believe that your product may not be successful. And that is why it is connected, and that is important. So why is cost dev so cool? why is startup marketing so cool, and why our products actually in startup industry are sold so good. Just because of this. First, you assess the prospects before the start of financial injections. That is really important, just because you do not waste any money. And when you have investors, you actually show them the results of your marketing research, which is cost dev, well, mostly, first of all. And you absolutely waste $0 on this. And that is really, really cool. So you have an ability to test your product with 0 financial injections. And that is the first and the most important thing why cost dev is used. The second one is it is based on logic and not on the personal preferences of the founders. You can see the real pain of the client and not those that the management of the startup mentions. So when you are using cost dev techniques, you actually launch your head out of your own imagination, but you rather ask people how they want your product, if they are interested in your product, and if they are interested in your product, how it can be evolved for their needs. And that is why. And so solely it is based on logic, and that's about it. The third one is possible, well, as I have already mentioned, a positive impact on future investors, because, well, startups do not, they do not work like themselves. If you have a cool startup idea and if it's starting to evolve, you will very quickly come up with people, with investors who will put money into your company to scale really, really fast. And you will not be able to scale fast without these financial injections from the investors. So if you are building a successful product, you will have to, and you are obliged to prepare for the meeting with these people. Because, well, every single startup which we have mentioned today, or which probably has not evolved itself. It has evolved with the help of investors. Some of them were really, really big. Some of them were crowdfunded, when a lot of people put like small amounts of money, and this creates a capital for investment. But it doesn't really matter, because all of these people are investors, and you have to prepare for the meeting with them. And the positive impact is that you have, when the investor actually comes and says, what proofs do you have that your product will be successful, that we have to put money into you? And you actually and then you will show them the results of your customer development. And that is really important, because you actually show them exact people who tell exact things about your exact product. That is why that is so cool and working. And the last one, that the methodology is based solely on brainstorming and does not consume budget. That is quite closely connected with the first position, but it actually says a little bit different thing. It says that you actually, if you're, for example, if you're a student, or if you're not a student but you do not have like a lot of money to put into your product, your budget is really limited, and the money which you otherwise should put into marketing, you should put into your product, into building a prototype of something else, evolving your project, but you do not put any money into marketing. And that is really, really important. And one of the things I didn't write here is, well, trust me, I have seen so many products that had, they consisted of marketing. They did not contain the product itself. They consisted on 100% on the marketing, but the product was absent. And that is like, like being a soap bubble. You can even attract investments on this, but as soon as you start selling your product and it has nothing except from marketing behind it, it fails, and the bubble pops like this, and you have no future with the products like this. And this was actually the case in the early 2000s, when big companies did not actually ask people about the product, but they rather created their products which they thought are correct, and that is why they actually failed. One of the most bright examples of working like this, of building products which no one actually needs, is I really like cell phone industry, and we pretty much all know the Nokia, the Nokia company. And this is a really cool example of a company being number one, being the leader of the industry, and losing 10 positions in a matter of 3 years. Only 3 years were wasted by Nokia to lose its positions, firstly to Apple and Samsung, and then to Chinese production companies. And the reason is really, really simple. They continued to build products which people did not need at the moment. They were absolutely sure that they are doing the right thing. But the customer who actually pays money for the product, he actually, right now in the 21st century, the customer actually decides what is important for him, and what will he make, and on what will he waste his own money. And that is why actually Nokia disappeared. Well, from being a multi-billion-dollar company, well, it was sold to Microsoft in a matter of 5 years, just because they did not even have enough funds to pay the salary to their workers. That's what happened. That is what happens. That's what happens when you do not manage your ego, and when you think that you know better than your customers on what to make for them. You should always ask. Okay, so we pointed why CastDev is a cool, is generally a good idea, but there are some drawbacks showing why it's not. Okay, so with CastDev, it is possible to use, once again, only a commercially successful product. Humanitarian social ideas are not working with CastDev, just because CastDev is actually about gathering criticism around your product. But when you are coming, I will explain why it doesn't work. When you come with people to people and ask them about humanitarian ideas and social ideas, of course they will say, yeah, that's cool, because every one of us is a human being. We really love each other, and we really try to make this world better. And why CastDev doesn't work in humanitarian and social products? Because 100% of people will say that you are right. And that is definitely not what you are looking for, because you are looking for criticism, you are looking for recommendations, and you are looking for people who actually want to and are able to give your opinion on how to change your product. But of course, when you come up with something, and say, the aim of our project is, saving wildlife or saving the oceans, everyone will say, yeah, guys, move on. That's a great idea. And that's when actually CastDev fails. Fails 100%. The second thing, industry experts may oppose the any hypothesis is in doubt approach. Ego again. You see the small picture right in the ego, and why I put here this thing is because when you ask industry experts about your product, they are experts, especially elder people. They have a certain background which actually distorts their opinion, because they are not ready to dramatic changes, and they are not ready to your new ideas. So that is why generally it is not a good idea making a CastDev alongside some super experienced people. You have to ask really, really simple people about your product who are actually going to be your clients. You do not need expert opinion about your product when you are making CastDev. Of course, you need expert opinion, but not on this stage, not on the stage when you are making customer development. So CastDev is not about asking experts about your product. It is about asking people who are going to pay money for your product. That is the difference. The third thing is, well, of course, loss of confidentiality. It is really difficult to keep the development secret if any market research is carried out. And by the way, which I didn't outline right here, well, people right now, especially in Western cultures, they really tend to take a lot of care about their personal information, and you have to be really, really careful with this. Just because, well, for example, Luigi is making a product and he's coming to me and asking my preferences, my personal preferences. For example, I don't know, maybe my well, whatever my personal information is besides my well, gender and age. And this information is really, really specific, and people right now, well, as of the 21st century, people really, really care about saving this information inside. That is actually not the case in Russia, once again, because, well, we are really a specific market. We do not care about serving personal information and personal life. We do not care about safety too much. I don't know, but once again, I have a couple of friends in Germany, and I absolutely know that it is 100% sensitive for them. I mean, sensitive in case of not spreading their information about their personal life. And once again, you have to understand that when you are carrying a marketing research, your idea, which you're carrying inside your head, automatically is spreaded. Well, because of course, when you have an idea of building something, and you come to people and ask them about the future, the future of your product, you automatically, disclose your idea and explain to them what you actually invented. And it is actually a problem in the startup industry, because a lot of your ideas may actually be stolen. And there are some, legal instruments to avoid this. For example, registering the patents and stuff. But most of the times, people do not have time and money to do that, because well, registering a patent is first of all expensive. Second, it is a long process, maybe sometimes taking up to a couple of years, and of course you do not have that much time. You have to evolve, you have to build the product, you have to make the business out of it, and most of the startups do not even care about protecting their intellectual property.
But so what's the solution?
Well, the solution is pretty simple. You should never ask someone well, that sounds like it is. So for example, well, once again, you do not catch people on the street, the total strangers, and ask them. But CusDev, why it is useful? You as a CusDev, as a creator of customer development, you choose who to ask. And you can always choose to ask people who you are sure will not steal your idea, who are absolutely not interested in building a technical startup. Well, for example, I have experience of building a couple of applications which are in Google and App Store. And what I generally did is I asked people who are not into the IT industry, just because I know that I can ask them as potential customers, but I know that they do not have any ability or mindset to actually steal idea from me and make it ahead of me. So I was asking all people around, just not involved into that IT. If you're an engineer and you come up with an idea, do not ask other engineers. Ask people who are not into this industry. Well, I am here today just to, to tell you a couple of clues about this. But if you are really interested in customer development technique, which you totally should, but if you are planning to make the business, just feel free to Google this stuff. There are quite a lot of guidelines on the internet, And I think that Coursera.com has a couple of really cool, and I think that they are free tutorials on how to actually do that. We're not here to, follow any steps. I'm not here to teach you how to do that. I'm here to just tell you about this. So, well, the rule of thumb is do not ask people who can steal the idea from you. That is it. And this happens a lot of times, I don't know, to show you any example of the stolen ideas. Well, I think I know one. One of the general ideas stolen, well, you probably know the material, the Teflon, the which is used in, well, right now in frying pans, but it actually was invented by accident in 1930s. And actually the first use of Teflon was inside the first nuclear bomb shells. Yeah, and actually, and only after that the technology actually came to civilian stuff like frying pans and kitchenry. But the idea was stolen because it was actually invented by accident. And two friends were working in the lab, and when they were partying in the bar on Friday evening, one of them told his another friend that actually he came up with a new material, and the idea was stolen. And so that is why you should never launch CastDev inside the community, which can actually steal your idea and make it ahead of you. That's all.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for your clarification. And maybe actually I saw a film that it was explaining the same thieving idea, and everyone noticed. It's McDonald's.
Oh, yeah. Maybe you know something that I do not know about this. Well, and another thing that, well, of course you can protect your, invention with the patent, but there are some things which you cannot protect with a patent. For example, Uber, we discussed it before. You cannot patent, the combination of technology. You cannot patent, well, once again, they did not invent cell phones, neither they did invent GPS, but they invented the combination of two. And of course, you cannot patent this thing, and you cannot protect it. So the only thing, when you have no ability or desire to protect your invention with the patent, is just to make a CastDev, validate your idea, and if you find it successful, just launch it into the market. And when it does, you have to very rapidly conquer as much customers as you can to create a loyal public. And after that, you will find that, well, you do not have to protect your idea anymore, because other people will copy you 100% if you're successful. But if you manage to conquer the market very rapidly, they will take a small share from you, maybe 3 or 4%, no problem. But you will have the majority of the clients. And that is how it is done, because you cannot protect some things legally. So, well, the only thing you can do is just, make people love you, make people love your product. That is actually love your project. That is actually how it is done. And there are a lot of examples about, well, how it is done, and very often it is used through non-scientific things, like through personalities. There is a principle. I haven't told you about it. Well, right now I will delete this slide, and I will just, there is a principle of building a startup team, which is called Triple H. I will right now try to change the font. First H, second H, third H. And the principle of building a startup team is Triple H, which stands for the first which stands for actually 3 roles. The first role, the hacker. It is just called like this. It doesn't mean that we're talking about a specific, evil mind that is, carrying a hoodie and coding some stuff and breaking into the banks. No, it is just a role code like that. But what the hacker means in building a team, it is a person who is actually responsible for technical, all the technical stuff involved into the product. For example, if you're building an application, a hacker is being your coder, a person which actually is responsible for coding things. The second role is the hustler. Well, for those of you who do not know the translation of the word, this is like, well, it is a criminal who is actually selling stuff. And what this role actually means is this person is responsible in the team for actually selling a product, who is responsible for finding customers, building relationship, finding investors, because these two guys usually they are really different. They have different roles. People who are, engineers, coders, programmers, they are not really good sellers. They are not good negotiators as well. So they are just into the coding, into the engineering, into the creating of the product, into testing it. And the hustler is a guy who actually does not really understand the technical stuff, but he actually knows how to sell, how to negotiate, how to talk to people. And that is why he's called the hustler. And
Excuse me, so you mean hustler can be a teammate that know the business development?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, this is what happened for McDonald's. So I will put a link of McDonald's film. Maybe people would like to watch this.
Yeah, sure. Feel free to put it into the chat. I think we are all really interested, and I will personally watch it right now just after the lecture. So yeah, you should understand that if you're making a startup, you will not be able, most of the times, you will not be able to make this alone, and you will not be able to make this only on your own. So it is generally always a good idea just to build up a team. But you have to, when you are building a team, first of all, you have to implement the roles. You have to split the responsibilities so everyone knows what he is responsible for. And the third and the most interesting role is the so-called hipster. Why this is called a hipster? A hipster is a person who is responsible for building a story or an image behind the product. A very bright example of this is Apple. Well, actually, Apple phones were not something, from the space age, but there was a cool story behind it that actually Steve Jobs created the business while, being a student in his garage, and he was really a unique person, in many different ways. And a lot of people actually bought Apple products because of this role, this role, the hipster. Right now the marketing evolves in the way that people really do not need, the piece of equipment. I don't know. They do not want the piece of metal. They really want the story behind it. And the person who actually creates the story is the hipster. He is the, image maker of the product. And it is really important because very often products actually sell because of people who actually promote them. So hipster is actually a promoter. He's not selling anything. He's just being the, the idea behind something. It is like, well, there are really a lot of businesses which are based on personalities. Well, for example, Elon Musk. Well, of course, people buy his commercial space launches not because his image, but I absolutely know a couple of people who actually bought Teslas because of Elon Musk personality, because they trust him as an inventor and stuff. So they do not even. That is a really cool example of a situation when people do not really examine the product, technically, but they rather buy the story behind it, the story of success. And that is what hipster is about. He's just being an image maker. It also happens in perfume industry when, well, girls particularly and all that, when some celebrities, promote some stuff of, some cosmetics, it instantly becomes really, really popular because people do not even, see what is consistent about. They see that a person they really like, a really well famous person actually uses that, and that makes us trust this product automatically. This is how our mindset actually works. So well, these three roles are the main roles in any startup. Well, sometimes they are combined if the team is really, really small. But if you start to grow, and if your product is actually being a success, when you start to earn first money out of it, you will come up 100% of the times, you will come up with the need to fill these three roles for yourself. Maybe you will not need a hipster, because, well, some of startups are actually created to sell the technology, and not 100% of times you will actually want, the globally, well, to sell your idea globally. But the hacker and hustler are 100% needed in any team, because first you have to create the product, which is a role of a hacker, and then you have to sell it, which is a role of a hustler. And if you're sure that you can combine these two roles inside yourself, you are a happy person. Because, well, personally, well, describing myself in the team, I am the hustler. Well, that is a really cool idea. Just, I will ask you to put into the chat which of the three roles you would choose for yourself. Please write it into the chat and we will discuss it. So, are you a hacker, are you a hustler, or are you a hipster? And being a hipster, by the way, is not a bad idea, because any product, even the best products on the market, are nothing if they have no story behind them. If they don't, it is called the user story. So if you're buying a car, for example, I really like these examples. You do not buy a specific brand, you buy its image. For example, Toyota being a reliable one, Mercedes-Benz being a luxury car, and stuff. So you buy, every time you buy something outside of food, or some base, needs, you buy a user story. And that is when hipsters come up. I will just fold it right now and see what you have written into the chat. Just give me a second. Oh yeah, just saw an end your question. Yeah, right. That's hacker, hustler, and hipster. Guys, I just asked you to put into the chat what role would you use for yourself. The hustler. Okay. Mashud the hustler, Sabine the hustler. Who else? Yeah, right. Volvo is known as safe car, but well, actually, well, it is marketing, because 100% the tests are carried, and Volvo is not more safe than, for example, the BMW or whatever, or other cars, but they created the image for being the safest car in the world, which is actually not really true, but people actually buy this. And we discussed it before, that safety is a product that is monetized, and Volvo is definitely a very good car. And I know that safety is a really important thing in Sweden, but that is a thing when of the right marketing. They actually strived on the point that they are being the safest car on the planet. Because, you know, there are a lot of luxury cars, there are a lot of cheap cars, there are a lot of reliable cars, and they just came up with an idea that they wanted to be somewhere else, and safety was a product for them. Hacker. Okay, and then there is a hacker. Okay, so most of us are hustlers, and actually, a hustler is the heart of the business, is the heart, because when you actually know how to promote stuff, you can actually sell even, I'm sorry for the word, the shitty products you can actually sell. And there are a lot of examples when the hustler actually is so cool that he is able to sell absolutely stupid stuff, but it actually works. And this is actually, well, a lot of examples of this, especially in, you know, pharmaceutical industry, when people buy, you know, super expensive vitamins and stuff, which absolutely are not different from, you know, the cheapest medications, but people are so persuaded that that this product is different because it is so very well sold, that people just pay enormous amounts of money just you know, for marketing. So but why I told you that well, the business actually and any startup becomes successful when these two people, the hacker and the hustler, actually come together. When one person knows how to build a product, a really cool thing, and another, he meets another person who actually knows how and to promote this and how to actually sell this, that is when the successful business is born. And it is really important because, well, when you're making a startup, it is absolutely 100% of the time is an international story, because the markets are global. And if you're building, especially in IT, if you're building something, you are planning, you are wanting to sell this globally. And that is when hustlers become really, really important. Do you know why? A really simple thing. There is a difference in selling something in Russia, Indonesia, Iran, in Germany. There is a difference how you actually pose this, because just because of different cultures, you are not using the same marketing techniques in a Muslim country and in the country with, for example, another religion. They are really, really different, and you cannot use this 100% of the time. And this is not only about religion, but on the cultural itself. Because, for example, in Western cultures here, we are used to, you know, to television commercials with, you know, pretty girls, advertising stuff and stuff. And that absolutely doesn't work in Middle East countries, because the culture of showing women is absolutely different. So you cannot use the same marketing instruments. As well as, have you ever seen Japanese commercials? They are absolutely insane. I cannot understand a single freaking thing in it. But just Google it, or you can find it on YouTube. But they have it in their exact culture. They understand it. So they absolutely know how to sell the products inside their country. But what they actually do is they absolutely know the difference on how to sell products in other countries, and that is when the marketing is different. Another example in automobile industry. Well, so I mean, just I can not being, you know, a detained person, I'm just asking you just to type in YouTube, you know, crazy Japanese commercials, and you will understand it yourself. Just try it. Just trust me, you will not regret it. You will laugh. And another example in the automobile industry, for example, how different goods, how the same product is sold differently in different cultures. If you just go to the Toyota website, for example, the American Toyota, the Toyota.us, and you open up the landing page of Toyota Camry. This is a family sedan, and you will right away see the photographs of the car and how they what photos you see on the American side of Toyota. There is a girl which is putting the plants from the garden into the trunk in the in the shirt, like it is posed as a family car, as a convenient big family sedan. But when you visit the Toyota Russian website and you open the landing page for Toyota Camry, you will see absolutely other photographs. You will see a serious business person wearing a suit, wearing wearing a tie, with his it is posed as a business car, pretty much as a luxury sedan. And that is how the same good, how the same product is sold differently, because people actually percept the product differently. Because in the United States, this is a convenient family car, but in Russia it is a luxury sedan. It is the same automobile, but it is sold absolutely different in different countries. That is how actually marketing works. Yeah, and that's what I was talking about. Just Sabine, just spend a couple of minutes and just see it yourself. You have to see this. But you know what? We laugh about it, but actually in Japan and in Korea, this approach actually works, and this is actually how marketing is done in the Asian countries, and so that is why that really works for them. Well, you should have seen the Russian commercials of maybe 10 years before. It was so hilarious and stupid. But it did really work in Russia, So every country is different. Every culture is different. And why a hustler is important? Yeah, yeah, okay. That's why. That is why it is important to understand, if you are a hustler, you have to understand how to sell your product, not only in your location, but if you are scaling, which you should do pretty fast, if you are building a startup, because a startup is all about scaling fast, you have to understand how to make it global. And if you actually do, you will absolutely be 100% success. Also, financial purchase power is different in the that's absolutely what I'm talking about. But it's not the example with Toyota is not about talking about the culture. It is about talking about specific situation in any country, and the purchasing power is one of the factors. Of course it is, because if you drive a Toyota Camry in some of the poorest African countries, you will be considered like a really wealthy person. That is another example of perception, because the purchasing power, the medium salary is low, the average life level is really low. Yeah, absolutely, and that is actually how it actually works. Okay, guys, so I think our time is up. So I really think I hope I was interesting for you. I really hope I was not boring for you. I will just for a couple of seconds show the last slide of my presentation. So if you have any questions, actually, if you have any questions, just feel free to email me or give me a message in WhatsApp. I think I really missed up the thing. I have prepared for you a couple of slides with the links for startup tools and resources online, which are grouped on analytics, ad promotion, management, presentations, project management. I really spent quite a few hours for building this list for you. So what I will do is, if you really need this list of links of web tools for startup management, just email me and I will send you my presentation, or maybe ask the organizers they will 100% they will have my presentation. So there are quite a few really useful tools here. So just feel free. Okay. So thank you very much for your attention. I was really happy to talk to you today. We'll have a really small group, but well, I really thank you for being interactive. It was really a pleasure to talk with you today.
Thank you for a very interesting presentation. It's really so valuable for me.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dimitri.
Thank you very much, guys. Okay,
Thank you very much.
have a nice weekend. Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.